wanted to take a moment to talk about your future. You know, I've been looking at a lot of comments lately and looking at different videos and just kind of taking a step back. And one of the things I've noticed is that there's a couple of ways that all this stuff plays out. And I get in the beginning stages of this, you know, you focus a lot on your ex. You focus a lot on what happened to you and, you know, figuring out what they are, type of person they are, and all that type of stuff. But there comes a point whenever you get so focused on it that it basically traps you with that person or in that mentality, and you just can't seem to break free of it. And you know, when I look back at my own story, especially in the beginning, it was weird because I was trapped, but I knew I didn't want to be trapped. So I really wanted to get out of that loop. I really wanted to try to break free from that, but it was hard to do. And the problem is that every time you're thinking about what your ex is doing, every time you're thinking about what happened to you, or you're trying to, you know, fight a smear campaign, or you're trying to get justice, it is like, you know, it's a hand reaching out and just holding you where you are. So like in the horror movies, whenever the hand reaches out and grabs you and pulls you down and doesn't let you get away, it's kind of along the same lines. And it's an easy trap to get into. I mean, trust me, I fell into that trap myself. But at the end of the day, you really have to decide, where do you want your life to go? Now, you can look at your situation and you can even be frustrated and say, I've lost, like in my situation, I can say, I've lost 21 plus years. And technically, I could say up until the time I really started getting better, I lost more time after that. And you can get stuck in that mode thinking, well, you've lost all this time, so you want to have some type of resolution with it. The problem is that it, like I said in the beginning, it traps you. So the question you have to ask yourself is, where do you want your future to go? Where do you want your life to be like? And you have to take a step back from it, and you have to basically kind of be open to, like, okay, this is the past. Whatever happened in the, you know, this is whatever. The way my life was going before is different. It's not the same. I can't expect to, you know, continue on from where that was to get to where I thought I was going to go. You have to basically come up with a new path. I mean, I know for me, you know, in my situation, I expected to be married forever. I expected my life to be with that other person. On top of that, I had financial goals, and I had a vision of my future of how it was going to be. And for a long time, I also got stuck looking at or thinking about the fact that that future was gone, which, okay, in a lot of ways it is. That plan to get to that point is now gone, right? I mean, it is. I mean, you know, that's the reality of it. But it doesn't mean that my future is gone. It doesn't mean that your future is gone. It just means that you have to take a break and basically pick yourself and say, okay, you know what? That was an experience. I did that. What do I want my life to be going forward? What do I want to experience? Where do I want to be? What do I want my days filled with? Do you want it filled with anger and bitterness and chaos and just the ick of that relationship, or even continuing that type of continual drama? Or do you want to say, you know what, I'm done with that. I want a new life. I want a different life. I want a life with better people. I want a life with better relationships. I want a better relationship with my kids, or I want to work on a relationship, building a relationship with my kids. Or maybe you want to focus on a different retirement path. Whatever it is, you know, you still have the ability to start to clean the slate, wipe it down, and start over. You know, and I get that it's pretty frustrating whenever you put so much effort and time and resources into something for it to fall apart. Trust me, I get that. I mean, and it's really odd, because there was the longest time that I couldn't get over that. I just could not get myself to basically let it go and start trying to build the life I wanted. the direction in the direction I wanted to go. And once you start to do that, once you start to reprioritize what's important, because that's the first step on this, is, what is really important in your life. And guys, the sad truth is there's not a lot. We get so wrapped up in so much chaos, argument at work, or, something with, a friend, or, somebody who's done us wrong, or who's belittled us, or done whatever all these things are. At the end of the day, you get to wake up and decide what is going to be in your environment, what's going to be in your life. I don't want chaos and crisis and anger and frustration and stupid games. I want stability. I want calm. And I want to see a future that basically keeps building on that. And every one of you has the ability to start to make that shift. It's not easy. This isn't something that you just go, you know what, that makes sense. And tomorrow I'm just going to, change everything, and I'm going to be this skippy, happy, bowl full of rainbows type of person. No, life still is going to throw you punches. Things are still going to happen. But you get to choose how you react to it. You get to choose what you allow into your environment. You get to choose how it's going to impact you. I get that there are people who have influence over your professional life, and if you're dealing with a toxic ex, they're impacting your current environment. But it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to be one of those things where you can't move forward because you're stuck dealing with it. I've talked a lot about, in my situation, how, granted, I do have one of my kids that has, fallen off child support, but even up to that point, not a whole heck of a lot had changed, but I was really happy. I had really gotten to the point where I was like, hey, things are pretty good. I was seeing a future. I could see how things were going to change. And that's what you do. You look at it, right? In my situation, I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, the kids are going to fall off. The money situation will switch around. They'll give me flexibility to do some stuff. There's a lot of people out on this channel who are, struggling right now because maybe they don't have a lot of money, but they're going back to school. They're trying to position themselves to be independent, to not be tied to their toxic ex anymore. And that's what I'm talking about. And granted, it takes time. And maybe part of the problem in our society is that we've gotten so accustomed to instant gratification that things just, happen in a moment, and, you don't have to wait. And, and maybe that's what some of this lesson is learning to just slow yourself down, slow down the entire process, be able to look long-term and plan for it, and then achieve those goals. And guys, I'll tell you, as somebody who's older, it is amazing how fast time goes by. I look at, the time I remember, and I know I've talked about this in the past. I know I haven't talked about it recently, but when the whole thing was first done, and I was looking at those devastating numbers going, oh my God, how am I going to survive for what was it at the time? Like 4 or 5 years until my first child falls off. And even then it was a small amount of money. I'm like, there's no way, it's going to be, I'm going to be, from that time, like 12 years until I'm able to actually start over. You know what? As soon as I got sick and tired of being stuck in that, being basically stuck, attached with that bitterness and anger towards my ex, that's when things started to change. That's when my life started to get better. That's when my relationship with the kids started to get a lot better. Things for me started going better. And and that's really the key. It's changing your perspective, changing what you think changing what is a priority in your life, and then starting to make active steps to put yourself in the environment that you really want to be in. Okay, I'm not going to belate this anymore. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I just wanted to throw that out there as something I was thinking about earlier today. And I will chat with you guys in the next video. Take care.